Damn.
All right, so episode 4, Shotgun Logic.
Let's do it.
Look at this, 4 episodes in. We got our first guest. This is Juan Carlo. He is a local watch dealer.
I am honored to be here. So
Yeah, pull that mic up to you just a little bit. There you go.
I met Juan, what, about 10 years ago now at least?
I would say
Bought a watch right off my wrist, man. I wasn't even planning on selling it.
I got myself lucky. Not only bought a watch, I get to meet a hell of a guy.
How
well,
did
thank
how did
you,
y'all
man.
meet? Where did y'all meet at?
Man, I can't. Did you just come into my McKinney store? Is that what it was?
No, I think I mentioned you put an advertising on Craigslist,
to
or I
sell a
did,
watch.
or vice versa. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it was under those terms.
But
yeah,
I remember when you came in, it was for a different watch, but I was wearing that late model, one of the last of the Mohicans, the last aluminum bezel Submariners, and you bought that one from me too.
I bought a lot of watches from you.
Yeah.
A lot of Panerais. And I'll tell you, when you sold me those Panerais, that I'm never going to sell them to
Yeah,
anybody.
you still
and
have
I kept,
them.
and I have them.
Yeah.
Still have them.
How hard is it to like get into that game of just doing the watches? Like, how do you?
Well, you create a network. I was just going to explain to you to put you in perspective. You know, when I told you that Rolex is in the business, we have a cliche saying that it gains $1 in your wrist every day. So to put you in perspective, if you go to Rolex right now with $45,000 cash in your pocket, and you ask them to sell you a watch, they won't be able to. They have nothing for sale. You have to get yourself in the waiting list. In those terms, you see, I'll give you a good example. If you buy a Rolex Submariner, let's say you pay $16,000. Walking out of the store, I will give you $20,000. I give you $4,000 more than what you pay for, because I know I can still move forward on that number.
Yeah, that kind of translates to the exotic car market a
Exactly.
little bit.
Very
just like
similar.
Ferrari, what they do with their cars.
But I used to be in that business. A lot of paperwork, a lot of title problems. Sometimes you buy a car and they hold dot on the title, but you know how it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the watch business, you don't. It's all. Of course, you like to have papers on the watch, but it's not really determined for you to trade.
I mean, just
Hey, Juan, can you scoot closer to Sam?
Closer to the microphone.
Come
Closer to me.
Sam.
Okay.
she's trying to get you in the camera, I'm sure.
Is that good?
You're good.
So from someone, I got a few watches, nothing like what you guys do, but from someone on the outside looking in, just the number one stigmatism I would be like is I would rather buy a watch from a store because I feel more secure. With watches being so well, like the deep fakes that they have now, that even some stores can't tell what they're fake. I'm sure they can, of course, obviously. But what do people like normal cats that don't have that relationship like y'all have with the market, how do you earn that, or how do you build that trust with guys like us?
Well, very simple. If you're in the market for a watch, whether you buy it from me or from somebody else, I love to help you. I love for you to tell me what you're buying, so I can see what if you're buying is real, or if it bear aftermarket parts, which is something very important in this business. You want to make sure you don't have aftermarket parts in your watch. It's all original, just like an automobile, like you said, same thing. So you can rely on Smart, on Sam Smart. He's extremely knowledgeable when it comes to that. I could be a little bit more deeper if you decided to buy a watch that you think is a good deal, and I can tell you if it's real or not, just by the way the hands move and the dial, I can tell.
Well, how do you earn the trust with someone? Like, how do you convince someone like me to hand you $20,000 and that I'm not going to get a watch that's only worth like $300 or $400? You know what I mean? Because it's a fake or something. Like, how do you?
Well, that's you have to establish a relationship with somebody. It's all like, I'm sure if you, for example, if Sam is selling you a watch, I'm sure you can trust him.
What?
I mean, you don't. I know I am. Because I know Smart. He wouldn't steer me wrong. Because I know his character. So you have to know the person.
You buy the seller.
You buy
the seller.
Yeah, which is it's a great area.
There's so
I know
many-
that's what scares people, I think, is that,
Oh, but you have no idea how many people buy from a secondhand market. I mean, it's I survive on that.
yeah.
That's how I make a living.
But there's also a lot of. That's a good question, Houston. There's people retail establishments in this city that I have seen them having watches with fake parts on them in their display cases. There's
Intentional or
yes,
unintentional?
yes, and I've
Intentionally.
called them out on it before. I had one guy. It was a store at Grapevine Mills Mall.
I don't even want to say the name.
Yeah,
but
Anyway,
Just a jewelry store?
a jewelry store,
Okay.
but they had like a used watch section, Rolexes, and they always had a bunch of. I mean, back in the, I'm sure you've sold them watches before, or I'm sure you've done business with them over the years. But about 8 years ago, I was at the Grapevine Mills Mall store, and I'm always looking at watches, right? And he had a Submariner, like a mid '90s Submariner in the case, and I could tell right away the bracelet was fake. Not like an aftermarket bracelet. Aftermarket is when it doesn't have a Rolex insignia on
no,
it.
but it still would be aftermarket.
Well, for sure. But
Yeah.
fake is when it's an actual fake, part that says Rolex.
Like it's impersonating.
Like it's that's a big no-no. I mean, really anywhere, but especially at a retail store. So I pointed it out to the guy and I showed him how this is fake.
Yeah.
He took the watch, went to the back, came back a few minutes later with just the watch head, had taken the bracelet off, and offered it to me for less money. I'm like, are you joking? You would think I would trust you to buy anything after I just called you out? And you basically just said, yeah, you're right, by taking the bracelet off,
Yeah, so you're kind of arguing my point for me. You know what I mean? How do
you got to be careful.
But
man.
how do you, like someone new to the game, how do you build that trust with somebody? That's my question.
I mean, it just, once again, I mean, it just depends on who you buy it from, where do you buy it from. I mean, I'm sure if you go to North Park Mall and you buy from Richard Eisman, he will not do that.
Yeah,
But
for
if you
sure.
rely in a better deal on Grapevine Mills Mall or any other outlet, a pawn shop or things of that nature, you just need to go with somebody that knows, or take it to Richard Eisman or somebody that is an authorized dealer and have him giving you, and you pay $120, maybe less. Some people charge more for an appraisal.
Yep.
For an appraisal.
But at that point, you've already bought it. Like you've
No,
already,
It depends.
No, because that's something you request to the
they'll
seller.
let you take it.
Yeah, well, I know how. If you have a question in my watch, I want you to feel comfortable. Take it
He'd
anywhere
meet
you
there.
want to.
Meet you somewhere.
Yeah,
to look at it,
let's
right?
go together. Let's,
That would be the deal right there. Like that's how you would set somebody. I feel like at ease. Let's go to the store together and
or open the watch. Make sure the movement is Rolex.
Yeah.
I mean, the movement will tell you right away. They open the back and they, I'm a knowledgeable guy, and I still do that sometimes.
Some of the fakes are so good. I mean, they're using real ceramic in the bezels. They're now even able to, I've seen where they will actually, like the neat thing about the Rolex Submariner or any of their ceramic bezel watches is where that looks like just white to you and I from here. That's actually platinum in there. And under the right light, you can see it shine. Well, the Chinese fakes now look just like that. I've seen pictures of them, zoomed in pictures, and it's like, it's getting harder, but they can't do that with the movement.
Yeah.
Once you open it up and look at the inside, or really somebody like Juan or myself winding the watch,
That will
setting
be
the
it.
time,
the
yeah.
movement and all that.
No,
Yeah.
well, just by you winding it, you can tell
If it's gritty,
but the grind of the crown, if the movement is real or not.
and screwing the crown back into the case. Like this
Yeah.
is they call this an oyster because it's waterproof, right? Like an oyster. And that crown screws in the tolerances are like a Ferrari, right?
That's
I
all.
mean,
That's all the
watertight.
thing. That's all the thing. You look at the dial with the loop, with the augmentation glass, and you can see the discrepancy on the printing. You can see some letters missing a little bit of ink, some ink probably a little bit more to the right, so
Spacing is off.
That's big for that's not Rolex.
Let's counterfeit.
Yeah, because Rolex is so sharp in their printing. I mean, everything is even and really nice.
You know what I see a lot of now? Juan, I'm sure you've seen this when you're researching watches, but all over eBay, they have what I consider fake watches. They will take a standard stainless steel black on black Submariner, and they'll put a fake blue bezel on it and a fake blue dial on it to make it look like what's called the Smurf, which is a white gold Submariner. And they're not claiming they didn't do that. It'll even say aftermarket parts, but if it's aftermarket and it says Rolex, that's a fake dial.
But let me tell you something. Not to trust, the authentication from
yeah.
eBay.
Yeah, it's
I
horrible.
hear horrors. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't even know what they're doing.
No, I
They
see
don't.
fakes all the time on there, and I'll message the people like,
Yeah.
dude, what? This is a fake
Yeah.
watch. What are you doing?
Because if you pay a little extra, eBay will certify and dissect the watch to you. But I hear horrors about it.
That's what I was going to say. You've told me stories of dealers that will sell a watch to somebody. They decide, a real watch, right? They decide they don't want it.
Right.
They'll send it back. eBay will automatically refund them the moment they type the tracking number into the system, right? The dealer ends up getting back a box with a fake watch in it, you know? And at that point, it just turns into a civil matter.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to do anything for you.
So let's just take a step back. So let's just kind of let everybody hear, you know, like Juan Carlos's, I guess, his resume. Like, what brought you to be this so well versed with the watches, and you know, to have that kind of like senior type ability to look at it and tell, you know, or be able to dissect it. Like, how did you start, and like to even get into that game? It just seems like it would be so sketchy at first.
I'm going to tell you something that really, when I was you were young, you're still young, Mr. Houston, but you know, do you remember Reader's Digest?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, of course.
When I was a young man in my home country, I used to cut the Omegas. Remember, they used to advertise watches in there, and glue them in a notebook, and I used to read about them. I guess it's a passion that born with you. It's just kind of like being an art curator, you know, kind of like that, you know. But you have to have the desire. You have to like watches. It's just you know, it just. I mean, what do we need? A $30,000, $40,000 watch, you know. But it's just for us. It's the artistic behavior behind it, you know, and the history, the tradition of watchmaking. When you study the history of watchmaking, especially Louis Breguet, that tell you about how they helped to build the Eiffel Tower and the history behind. He made everything about a watch: the tourbillon, the chronograph, the automatic movement. You know, there's a certain heritage in the tradition that comes about a watch that attracts some people. You know, attracts me.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I used to cut, you know, the pages of the watch, and I glue it on my notebook, always dreaming about having those watches and own them.
Really?
It just kind of, we just a bunch of weirdos, man. You know?
So it's a collector mentality.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
With some guys are hot rods, some guys are guns, some guys are watches, some guys are like fine wines too, I'm sure, maybe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Collecting, you know, expensive items. But really, I can see how the watch values would be something that would be tricky to keep a hold of, I guess. You know, like, how can a watch gain value at different rates compared to other watches? You know what I mean?
In the case of Rolex, it's kind of obvious, because Rolex is probably the only watch in the market that suffer 2 price increases every year. The same watch, for example, the watch launches in. I'm going to give you a hypothetical sample. The watch launches in January. Okay, the watch is $10,000. By the end of the year, by October, they increase the price $300. So, you know, I mean, right?
Yeah.
But they increase sometimes 3 times. When the real I remember 5 years ago they did it 3 times 1 year.
Yeah, before
so
pre-COVID.
I mean, it's no way to lose. But of course, you know, it just depends on how you buy them, because when you go to the store, then you have to pay the high taxes, and you know, with us, you don't, you know,
So when you
so
say
a cash transaction, you know, of course I claim it, but you know, not to you, you know.
The first the first real watch I ever had, a Rolex, it was a 1988 Submariner, no date, 5513.
Oh,
And
that's worth
I
a lot of
bought
money
it-
now.
Oh my God! I paid,
Listen to the story.
I paid $1,800 for it in 2002.
Oof.
And actually, I had just been burned by buying a fake watch on eBay, and I thought it was real. And I walked around for 6 months wearing this. It was a Yachtmaster, and Jennifer and I were at somewhere in the gallery. I forgot what watch store it was then, but the sales lady called me out on it from across the room. She's like, "Sir, you know that watch is fake, right?" And I'm like,
Damn.
"Dude, my stomach sunk."
Really, Sam?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you never
It
told
was
me.
I
a-
was just
yeah,
saying, is
it
that
was a
something that
platinum
people
dial.
do? Is that the watch etiquette? I mean, I would feel like that's not
Well, if
something
you're,
you would
yeah,
tell.
it's kind of weird, right?
Gotta be
Like
a better way to say that.
I know
right?
it was
Very
it was
aggressive,
odd.
and very, you know,
So
yeah.
what it was a a platinum Yachtmaster, just a 16622, just a basic. But instead of having the platinum dial, it had like a sunburst dial. You know, totally a watch they never made. You know, and that's how she could tell because it was had a dial combination on that watch.
How she had the will to call you like that?
I know it was really odd, but I was hurt. I took it off. I'm like, show me. What do you mean? You know, and I paid like $900 for it, which in 2002 that was a lot of money.
Yes.
And I didn't. You know what I mean? To me, it seemed like plenty of money. Like it seemed normal, right? Like. So I ended up the next day. I went to my buddy's jewelry store, Levy and Sons. You remember Levy and Sons in Highland Park?
Yes.
So I was really good friends with Roger Levy, the son. You know, he was.
Whatever
he came
happened to
our-
the old man?
I haven't talked to Roger in years. I mean, he was pretty up in his ages back then, so he's probably passed away. I would imagine.
Yeah, well,
But
I'm sorry.
I stopped by his watch store and I told him what had just happened. I'm like, dude, I got to get a Rolex. I want a real Rolex. So he went to the back, came up front with a grocery sack full of individual watches. Some of them had a paper folded up with them. Some of them were naked or no papers, right?
Yeah.
But they were all in those, those hard Ziploc bags that dealers keep watches in. And he laid them all out on the table. And apparently his dad would take these watches. He went back and forth to Europe all the time. And at that time, you could get more money for these watches in Europe than here. So his dad would take them overseas, sell them at a jewelry store he was buddies with, and use that money, on like their vacationing money, right?
Yeah.
So he let me look through his dad's collection, and I grabbed that 5513, and I paid $1,800 for it. Wore it every fucking day for 6 years, and then I sold my shop I was working at, and I thought, man, what am I? I don't need a Rolex. What do I have a Rolex for still? I was just a normal, like I don't need so.
Who bought the watch?
Well, I went to Dallas Gold and Silver, and that's where I started my relationship with David Larson. He's since passed away, but he ended up giving me $6,000 for the watch plus a Seiko, like a $500 Seiko, so I
Nice.
wouldn't walk out of there without a watch on. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I've been wearing this watch bro. I mean, I wasn't a watch guy. I was banging it off door handles, and it was dirty. I never cleaned it. Nothing like I am now with watches.
Yeah.
But it just like a light bulb went off right then. I'm like, God, this thing has tripled in price after I'm wearing it every day for all these years. Well, now that's like a $25,000 watch.
And that's intentional by Rolex, like the whole, like you can't go to the store and buy one. That keeps their
Yeah,
value.
now-
Not only Rolex, a lot of other watch brands
Same.
that are
AP.
Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, which is considered one of the best watches in the world. Actually, one of the best watches in the world. You cannot walk into, because they have one boutique at the Bar Harbor Mall in Miami, Florida. FP Journe. FP Journe is one. They only make 1,500 watches a year.
all
of the
handmade.
Oh,
Like 200 hours per watch or
Oh my
something like
God!
that.
Yeah, exquisite stuff, and
Yeah.
you have to establish a relationship with FP Journe, and FP Journe had to get to know you and your family, your old Providence, because if he sell you a watch for $60,000, you can sell it for $400,000.
Isn't that crazy?
So he doesn't want that.
Yeah.
I was listening to Kevin O'Leary on the phone. I don't know if you ever hear him about FP Journe.
Yeah.
What he said about FP Journe, that he's the Picasso of the watchmaking. Yeah.
That's a good saying.
He's the Picasso of the. But it's just not only Rolex, Vacheron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's many, but very high end stuff. But
Ro-
Rolex, yeah.
Rolex, Gavingi's back when they were still a Rolex dealer. When the latest, I guess, when Rolex came out with their 41 millimeter Submariner back in 2020, I thought I had to have the green bezel, black dial. But it's one of those watches that you literally getting it at retail is like winning the lottery. It's like a $9,500 watch retail, but it's a $16,000 watch if you have to buy it anywhere besides a Rolex dealer. Well, the problem is you can't get one retail,
So when you say that, sorry to cut you off, but when you say you can't get one, that means you just can't go in and buy one that day.
Well, see-
but you can still order it, right? And
No, well, this is my story. So, the owner of Gavingi's, we tent all of his cars.
That
He
happened
came
many.
by-
That happened many years ago.
Yeah, this was in
Not now.
2020. So he came by. He wanted to get one of his McLarens tinted.
Yeah.
And I gave him a price on it, and he was fine to pay it. But then I was like, wait, how about I just tint your car for you? It's an $800 tint job. I'll tint your car. Put me on the list for the green bezel black dial Submariner, and that way I can get it at retail. I wouldn't have sold it However, I could have and made $6 or $7 grand pretty easily. I just wanted the watch. And 2 years goes by, and I never got the call. Then I found out that he lost his Rolex dealer. So this guy couldn't even give me the damn watch anymore, but he still hadn't paid for the tent job and hadn't given me anything. So actually Juan was like, just go by there and have him write you a damn check, you know?
But Sammy, at the time, I remember walking in.
Oh,
in
that's
there.
right. You went in for me.
He still had the Rolex store.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, Juan actually went by there and was like,
Yeah.
how you doing?
He was still saying he was a Rolex dealer, but
Well,
he's
he
not.
was a
he
dealer
was a
at the
Rolex
time.
dealer. He was.
Yeah.
And I'm certain he got those watches in and sold them, but he had a big jewelry store too. So he was probably selling them to his clients that were spending $100,000 a year on gold and diamonds and wedding bands, instead of to me because, he knew that I wasn't a retail watch guy to begin with. The only reason I was going to buy it at retail is because it was so hard to get your hands
To get
on
it, yeah.
But it's like that with a lot of brands. They're trying to protect the brand. I'll give you a good example. The Birkin bags that the older women want, and they're so expensive. Same thing with the Rolex. You cannot walk to Hermes and buy a Birkin bag. You have to spend so much money with them in order for them to put you in the list. They're not going to guarantee you a bag, but they guarantee you they put you in. Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a brand protection.
Yeah.
But they don't want to saturate the market. It's just kind of weird.
That mirrors Ferrari pretty like almost dead on, except, they don't have dealerships for, I guess the dealerships for watches are going to be the jewelry stores, the independents, right?
Yeah.
But the same thing, a used Ferrari is way more valuable than a brand new one because
it's crazy.
they have to pick you to be invited to buy that car.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, when I went back there and, finally confronted him about, hey, you owe me some money from this tent job, he tried so hard to get me into another brand of watch. Like, well, come look at the Cartiers. Let's, pick you out of, but nothing is like Rolex. I'm not going to spend $7,000 on a Cartier that the moment I walk out of there or the moment I need some extra cash, I call somebody like Juan and he's like, yeah, I'll give you $1,800 for it. That's literally almost every other brand. Even brands we think of as high end, which are like Omega, great watches. They just don't do what Rolex does. I have a few Omegas. I love them. But you got to buy them used. I mean,
I got a Cartier Calibre.
Okay.
In the back of my car, in the trunk. Because, I mean, it's a $9,000 watch. I can't get. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought it from a friend that he was in distress, and I paid $3,000 for it.
So $9,000, and then Juan pays $3,000. Hoping you can maybe
and the
get
watch have all the papers, and it's being serviced by Cartier. I got all the service papers. Nobody wants them.
And you can't, a $9,000 retail Rolex is going to be, $10,000 or $12,000 typically, or more.
Yeah.
Actually, the watch Juan has on, that's a white gold version of the Daytona, but they have a stainless steel version. I have one with a black dial and black bezel, which is only $14,000 retail. But I mean, they're still going for what, 26, 27,000?
The
Double
The buy now price?
The highest watch ever sold in an auction was a Rolex Daytona, but it was a Paul Newman. It was his wife, Jane Woodward, giving it to Paul Newman. And Rolex never called it a Paul Newman.
No.
It's just the people, the buyers.
Yeah.
Because Paul Newman used to wear the watch, and it's very famous. But the one that Paul Newman used to wear is sold in, I think it's sold in Phillips auction in New York for $18 million. And the watch, if you bought it new, it'll cost you $500.
Yeah. Back in like the early 60s?
But late 60s. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Nuts.
Yeah, if you would know that, nobody have a crystal ball. You buy a bunch of them, and man, you be so rich. I mean, you know how? I mean, what dealer will pay, for the Daytona, for the original Daytona from the 60, complete with box and papers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the thing in PBS where the guy show up with that watch.
The Antique Roadshow.
The guy faint.
Yeah.
When the guy told him, I paid $230. I said, well, this
He
watch
had the
is-
receipt.
He got everything. He never won the watch.
Yeah.
And they bid it right at the auction at $400,000.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
So what other pieces of jewelry do that gain value?
I can't think of anything, man. I'm telling you, that's what attracted me. That and I've always been around the automotive industry, right? And I've never been a real big motor guy, but just the inner workings of a mechanical watch, I just love it, man.
I bet.
That's one thing. I wish Rolex had display case backs just so you could see, even though Rolex's movements aren't really made to be displayed, they're still a work of art, bro. They're awesome. I actually have a Rolex GMT that I put a display case back on just so you could see, 'cause I like it,
And all the Rolexes, they're all like movement charged. So the more
Yeah,
you wear it,
yeah,
you don't have to wind
Yeah, it's
up
an
or
automatic.
anything.
It's
It's
got
automatic.
a rotor that
Like a-
move with the movement of your body.
It's the crystals that's inside the watch, right, that activate that.
No.
movement.
So you're thinking of a quartz watch.
That's
Quartz
a whole
watch.
different.
Yeah, quartz watches, like your watch you have on. Well, I don't know. That's a smart watch, right?
Yeah.
But most other watches that they refer to as quartz they're literally saying that because there's a piece of quartz in the watch that pulsates at a certain rate, and that's what keeps the watch's time. But a mechanical watch is all driven by
movement,
gears and springs, and the oscillating rotor on the back is like off weight, right? So it however you move, it's going to always try to. And there's a clutch in it that lets it charge the watch, whether it's like constantly winding the watch, regardless of which way it turns.
Talking about quartz movement, man.
Yeah.
I would not believe what I just saw today.
Okay.
I saw an FP yarn
Yeah.
quartzed.
Really? I didn't know they. I would.
One of the
never
first one they
know.
made. But listen to this, Sam. It's got a mechanism. It's got a window on the dial
Okay.
that when you put the watch down, the mechanism stop.
Really?
It's like to save the battery life. But but when you put it on, it'll come back to the
To
time.
the time. Wow.
It's got like a memory in there or something.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It's like,
awesome.
like a little computer. FP yarn is the only quartz movement that FP yarn ever made.
That's well. Speaking of quartz, what do you think about this new case design on the new Rolex? Does it not remind you of an oyster quartz? What do you think? You like that watch? Have you seen one yet?
I have, but when it comes to Rolex, I like the original stuff, the subs and
I think they're trying to do
the
too
sport.
much all of a
Yeah.
sudden, man.
It just you know what that's gonna do. You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna confuse the market like Panerai did.
Yeah.
When they start making money, they start making all these models, and they've never been so innovative like that.
Yeah.
Remember the old GMTs and the old sub? They all lasted 25 years
Yeah.
before they changed the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
they're changing all the time.
every year they change. Yeah.
So when you go meet somebody, like let's just say Sam hooked us up, right? And I'm like, hey, Juan Carlo, I'm interested in buying a watch. What do? Do you carry an inventory with you, or
No. I mean, we talk about it.
just start searching for one? Or
No, I mean, usually the people that are in the market for the watch, they know what they want. I have never been able to sell a watch to a guy that approached me. Send me a picture of all the watches you got to see if I like anything I see. That's not going to happen. It never happened to me. I don't know if it happens to you.
No.
But, usually the guy that you sell a watch is the guy that know what he wants.
you're just
He's
looking
been
for it?
studying.
That what he's
Yeah.
looking for. Yeah.
And he knows what it is. Like like
Yeah.
a Submariner, for instance. They're all the same, right? And if somebody's telling me I got a great condition Submariner, I know what this is. I don't need to necessarily see a picture of the watch. I need to see it in person when I get there before I make the
So I
final
can see the
decision.
condition.
But I'm gonna know what I'm walking into.
Yeah.
I'm not a watch dealer. I tried to be for a little while, but I'm just too busy,
It just seems like it'd be sketchy, like because you're carrying around pieces that can just
Well, you
disappear
wouldn't-
like
yeah, you
that.
don't-
you know what I mean?
I don't.
He just
I
has
don't.
the one he's gonna
Yeah,
sell.
I don't carry around pieces. It's just it's too much liability. Yeah, too much liability. I mean, it's just these watches are not cheap. I mean, sometimes if you carry 5 or 6 on them, I mean, you carrying $300,000 or $400,000 in the back of your car. You just don't want to do that.
Yeah. Are you able to insure that stuff like as a business? Cause
No.
No. Really?
No,
That's-
there's no insurance company. They insure an individual watch, but not not the whole bunch of watch because they can because they're gonna insure certain watch and that watch you're gonna sell. So you're gonna call them to. They don't do a revolving door like that.
I've actually been in that situation. Juan. 10 years ago, I would try to keep all of my watches insured. But you remember, I would be flipping watches all the time, and I would call my insurance company once a week, and I'd be like, okay, let's take this one off, and I want to add this one. they finally told me, so we can't. Sorry,
Exactly.
You need to
Yeah.
find a commercial
It's
policy.
too much risk.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
wouldn't even. So now I have a couple that are in the safe. They're insured. I'm never, you know what I mean. Those are watches that I always will have, but new ones, because I never know how long I'm gonna have it for, anyways. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know.
So is it the New York market? Is that the hub, like the hot spot for watches, or where would y'all say in the U.S.?
Miami, Florida.
Miami, really?
Miami is the World Trade Center of watches. When you go to Miami, even the police are wearing Rolex. I am serious.
Sick.
I am serious. You know, I was just looking at the, I was just talking to somebody the other day. The same day, I was looking at I can't remember the name of the show, but it was a detective show on TV.
Okay.
And the crime happens in Miami. All the detectives were wearing Rolex.
Rolexes?
Usually the Submariners
Yeah.
and the Jam Master with the platinum bezel. Usually it's just usually common watches
Yeah.
they wear. But yeah, they all because there's a building in downtown Miami called this is one alternative that you have other than among a lot of other ones, a lot of other wholesalers, but it's a building called the Cibo Building in Miami, in downtown Miami, and it's full of wholesalers. Whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it there at a good price if you bring in cash. You bring cash there, you make miracles.
Really?
Yeah.
I always see that one guy because I don't know if it's just my algorithm now, like online, but I feel like the watches and the content creators that do watches and buy them and sell them, and even like just guys refurbishing them, I feel like their content's taken off. Like
Oh yeah,
there's-
Volcom.
is
There's
it
a I don't know if you've seen him, but it is.
You feel like it's
taken
being
off.
more widely known, and like it's
Well, you know
the market's
who
hotter
was the
now.
innovator of that? You know who started all that, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, he was the timepiece gentleman.
Yeah.
He's the one to
Anthony.
Anthony what was it?
Fer-
Anthony
Ferrera?
Ferrer.
Ferrera? Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a online or
Well, he was just a watch dealer, and actually, I've bought a couple of watches from him. I met him over off of Arapahoe and Dallas North Tollway. He kind of made it seem like he had an office at this business tower, but I think he just would hang out in the lobby all day long. And he actually had
Very smart guy, but then he did.
Yeah,
he did the
he's
wrong
the guy.
thing.
He basically created a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme and just started stealing watches from people. His inventory came from consignment deals. So I would have a watch, or you would have a watch. Hey, I need to sell it. Anthony would be like, "Look, who can sell this watch better than me? I have a presence on the internet. I have people calling me looking for watches." So you would give him your watch and trust that he's going to sell it for the highest price he can and take whatever his percentage is going to be, 10, 15%, whatever, which is worth it, right? If he gets you a good amount of money and you don't have to deal with it. He was selling these watches and not paying people, and just, I guess eventually he would pay. I mean, it was a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He would pay somebody maybe 3 or 4 watches down the way until he felt like
with
but at
someone
the
else's
same time, bro,
earnings.
he was
Yeah.
buying Lamborghinis, Ferraris. He was pulling all these crazy publicity stunts where they did remember the internet blackout they did in Dallas, where all of a sudden, again, he has hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of other people's watches. And he was on Instagram every single day and got to where he had a really big following on YouTube. He had the timepiece gentleman. Matt and I would watch it at my shop in McKinney. And the whole time I would be talking to Juan like, there's no way this fucker is making this much money.
It was very ingenious the way he marketed himself.
Bro, it was
very
crazy.
ingenious. Everybody that is somebody here and now in Dallas, like Grand Caliber, I can mention many of them, any of the wholesalers.
They're kind of emulating that, right?
Oh, yeah, they simulate his business model. Yeah. Because
Yeah,
he did, but he took the wrong. He took the.
I mean, it's sad because he could have really made a lot of money doing, if he was just paying these people back the moment he would sell these watches, he would still have a great business.
Yeah.
But he got I think it was $5.5 million behind in like a year, bro. He ended up leaving Dallas. He had a partner here in Dallas who was really a good watch guy. Marco, I've known him for, as long as I've known Juan. Not as close as I am with Juan, but I've known him. He's a real watch guy.
Marco is a good man. He,
Yeah.
he owns that Grand Caliber place.
Yeah,
He's-
that's
he's a
awesome.
good guy.
I'm so glad he was able to get out of the
I will
situation.
buy from
with
Marco
Anthony.
with my. Actually, I bought this watch from him today.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I did.
But
yeah.
somehow he was able to navigate this whole thing that went down with Anthony unscathed. People that knew Marco knew he was a good guy. Anthony was just a douchebag, and we all kind of knew he was a douchebag, but he had this presence around him that, I mean, he had a bunch of watches, he was on the internet, he driving Ferraris, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how could he be
Fake.
stealing? Yeah, how
Yeah.
could, you know? But he ended up leaving Dallas, and he found a, if I remember correctly, he found, you know, I guess it was it wasn't an office building, but it was, I guess, a townhome that he rented in L.A. and moved the timepiece gentleman to L.A. and had like 9 people living in this house. It was a huge townhome. All these people living there that I guess were part of production for the YouTube show. Some of them might have been sales guys, but he was bragging about how his monthly rent was $90,000 a month that he's paying for this penthouse. They're all driving, you know, either, you know, I mean, name the supercar. They had them. You know what I mean?
He was giving watches away. Remember, he gave one to the FedEx guy.
Yes.
One time, he gave
Like,
a
what?
Rolex to a FedEx guy that used to bring him his packages from.
And then where's he now?
He's in jail.
Yeah.
And dude, it's so funny. He made this video series called The Road to Redemption, and he was, you know, okay,
he
had
was
a
trying to
counter
earn the
going.
money
He was
back,
gonna
right?
try to earn the
Yeah,
money back,
I saw that online.
bro. And he did like 5 or 6 or 7 shows, and each time the dollar amount would be like $10,000 less, but it's still like $5 million.
Yeah, he's chipping away.
And then finally, his last show was like, you know, I've decided to change industries, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this. Businesses fail. You know, what can I say? I'm sorry, but like it was just okay. You know,
How many guys do like how do you like this is your source of income? This is what you do, right? I mean,
Yes.
So you just jumped for it. You just made the leap, kind of like what Sam did with his business. I did with my business. You put all your eggs in one basket and just run with it. With us, you know, of course, like you too, you depend on the customers, but I feel like that, you know, you not only have to depend on finding a customer, but you also have to try to find the product. You know, at least with what me and Sam do, we can go to our distributors, get our product, order it, and make money
tough
on
with
the
one
day.
of
Yeah,
those,
you have
man.
to go. Yeah.
So you're hunting both ways for the customer and for the product. So
Yeah.
how, I mean, dude, how do you not have white hair? Is what I want to know.
I mean, it's all developmental, I guess.
yeah.
You know,
well,
when
man, I've seen you work, Juan. I was at North Park with Juan once, and I think you introduced yourself to 2 or 3 people that had beautiful watches on, and just, I'm Juan Carlo. That's a beautiful watch. Hopefully, you never find yourself in the position to need to sell it, but if you do, call me. Here's my number. And I think you do that so often.
It's a
that-
great compliment you can do to a man about his watch, because you know it's all really and truly. I hate to say it, but it's very egotistic. You know,
Yeah, it's like a
just
dick measuring contest.
yeah.
You can say it.
And, you
It's
know,
okay.
I mean, it really is. You know, nobody needs a $40,000 watch. You can see the time everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just a status symbol.
But it makes you feel good.
Yeah, and you know, on
So
a
what's
piece of
wrong with that?
conversation, I always tell the people, man, you know, when you tell a man what an intelligent choice you make for a watch,
Yeah.
you compliment the man.
Yeah.
And among those words, man, I love to buy that watch. I love the watch. Keep my number. If you want to sell it, I'd like to buy it.
Yeah, that makes
know,
you feel good too.
oh, and
Someone
you
who's
ha-
putting an offer in on your stuff or
Oh,
something.
and you have no idea how many people call me back and I buy the watch.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's awesome, man.
And then when I used to advertise on Craigslist, when I used to have my store on eBay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this really quick because this is rubbing on you.
yeah.
I could feel it.
Oh, I'm right here. It's tangled up in my.
Get this for you real quick. I could hear it while we're talking.
Sorry.
No, you said you.
But yeah, it was kind of. I was gonna say,
Did you make it worse?
yeah.
No, because it was, both the wires were touching.
Man, I remember sitting outside Al Burnett's one time. I was sitting with Tony, having some drinks, smoking a cigar, and this girl came in. He was coming into the restaurant. This is the weird way I can tell you stories, but she's coming in, and I was just didn't care about the watch she was wearing. I was just trying to strike a conversation with her.
She had nice
You know,
legs, yeah.
Yeah, and then I told her, "What a nice watch." I said, "You know what? You know, do you like this watch?" I said, "Yeah, well, I like to buy it." And she said, "Yeah, well, how much you give me for it?" I said, "Well, probably about $1,200." There you go. You have the $1,200. Give it to me because this was an old boyfriend's gift, and I hate him, and I hate him, and I hate him. So Tony had the money. Tony let me borrow, and I paid the girl, and she gave me the watch. Right away, I knew it was real. It was a Santos Cartier, you know, the Lady Santos two-tone. Yeah. Oh, I bought watches
What about the flip side? Have you ever met with someone that was shifty and then they try to jack you or try to hurt you and take the watch? Or
Buddy, I've been robbed, but never with a gun, never extremely clever stuff.
like they just trick you, hoax you, or something versus just straight.
I'm just like, it'll spin your head around. If you want to hear a story,
Let's tell it. Come on.
I put a watch on Craigslist, put a Rolex President
On Craigslist?
on Craigslist. Yeah. Well, I used to sell them like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So his ads on Craigslist were awesome, bro. Like,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
professional,
I never would've
very
thought that.
descriptive.
Oh yeah. I put them
I
on
used to buy them
Craigslist.
from Craigslist.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. Now you can. It's very dangerous now.
Okay.
So I put my watch, and the guy called me, and the guy told me, "Say, hey, man, what's it going to take to buy that watch?" I said, "Well, you meet me at the police station with $12,500, and we're good." And he go like, "Man, you know what? I'm a rapper. I can't be at the police station because I owe the government too much money. I cannot be on camera exchanging money. Can you meet me somewhere else? Can you meet me at a jewelry store?" And I said, well, "Yeah, okay. I'll meet you at the jewelry. That's no problem. I understand. I'll meet you at the jewelry store." So we got to the jewelry store, and the jewelry store was closed. Okay, so he told me, "Juan, let's do this. You keep the watch." Because Marco went with me.
Okay.
Marco have a gun. I said, I didn't have a gun. I said, keep the watch, let your friend keep the watch, just go away with the watch, and come to my car and count the money. He came in a brand new Range Rover. They have the right jewelry on. They have really nice watches on. We were conversing in a very professional way. I mean, they were just really nice people, a very cordial situation. So I count the money, but it was $12,500 on 20s.
Oh,
They're rappers. But let me tell you what these rappers.
no, they're drug dealers. Is what they are.
Right.
Well, because they go to this club, you don't have to be a.
And the club paid them that way? Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I
yeah,
see.
because
That's possible.
that's what they. I believe
I
that.
could buy that.
Yeah.
Or
So-
it could be drugs. But
Because what they do, there's so many local rappers that they're not in the mainstream, and they still make money. The local,
Yeah.
the community, the young people know them. So so I count the money. It was $12,500. So we talking. I'm very cordial. Because I had a change with Diamond that they wanted to buy too,
Okay.
and I told them about it. So this is this black of money like this, almost 2
All
feet,
20s.
all 20, almost 2 feet, and they told me, "Juan, don't get out of the car with all that money. Just it's too much liability. Just put him in this bag." So they say, "Put him in this bag." You see, this is the car. I'm sitting in the back of the car. There's two up front. Both of them are up front. So I give him the money. Oh, I'm sorry. I give him the money. They put him in the bag.
They switched the bag on
And
you.
they gave me the bag to me.
A different bag?
So I opened the bag.
You checked.
And I see all the money I count. I see it there. I see the black of money sitting down, and I look at the first bill, 20. That's what I count right there. Same thing. Okay, Abba. So they left. So I'm trying to get Marco for doing me a favor to give me company. I know he was the one. I'm trying to give him like $300, just to be gracious.
Yeah.
And when I pull out the money, they were all fake. They were all fake.
I saw this. Dude, that's a horrible story.
I-
But at least you didn't get hurt.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I'd rather them take my money than instead
Yeah.
of hurting me.
I forgot
you know what I
about
mean?
that story. I remember
But
you
it's
telling
kind
me
of
that,
similar
bro.
to that thing you see that happened recently, like a couple months ago. It was an African American gentleman. He got over on a jewelry store too. He had like the little leather pouch full of jewelry, right?
Yeah.
So he goes in. I guess it was a pawn shop or jewelry store that buys jewelry. He goes in. He does like what they did to you. He gives them the bag of jewelry. They look through it. And then they're like, okay, they give it back to him, and they give him an offer. And he's like, okay, I'll take the offer. And then he gives them a bag of jewelry or another bag. Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't the same one they looked at. So they gave him the money. They get the jewelry. They open it up, and it's a completely different bag. You know what I mean?
That
So,
happened to me with the. That happened to me
The Submariner?
with the Submariner.
Yeah, you
Same
gotta tell
thing.
that story, bro.
I can
Same
tell you-
thing?
Well, this was a little bit more. You know, a guy put a Submariner on Craigslist. You know, they were so hard
again,
to get.
Craigslist.
Yeah. No, but I can tell you good stories about Craigslist.
He's protecting
I don't
Craigslist.
have bad Craigslist stories.
I'll tell you good stories about it. This is sporadically. This is just once every 100.
Really?
You're
So it
gonna
wasn't
get 'em.
common. It wasn't
Yeah,
common.
It was not common.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's common now. Now you can't advertise on Craigslist. It's very dangerous unless you meet him at the police station. But you know, this guy, I called this guy, and he was selling this Rolex Submariner for like it was like $3,900. And I wanted to buy. I said, you know, where are you? I said, well, we are at the Woodland. So we are on the way. But you understand that you have no box, no papers. I'm going to dissect the watch to make sure the watch is real.
Like
Because
literally
they said-
take it apart?
I take it up, and I did. Yeah, I pull out the bracelet. I opened the bag. You know, I loop out the watch. But the watch, you know, the watch was real. I had to drive all the way down to the Woodlands.
By Houston?
In Houston, yeah. Actually, no, it was Conroe. I went to Conroe.
Oh,
to
even better.
Yeah. I went to Conroe. Well, it doesn't matter. I went to Conroe up there at a Starbucks. We meet at a Starbucks. We're sitting in there.
Didn't the guy name drop also? Like he somehow even knew a watch dealer down in Houston that you happen to know also?
No.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
not-
strictly
not-
cold, like
no,
you didn't know him. from
Yeah, I
anybody.
didn't know him. And, you know, he meet me. He was very cold. Yeah. But after I look at the watch, see, he wanted $3,900. But one thing he didn't disclose on Craigslist, the bezel was broken. You know, the bezel was not clicking. The what's it called?
the springs. in
The
there
spring
just
was
were
broken.
fucked up.
And
Yeah.
at the time, you couldn't get them from
Oh,
Rolex.
they're
Remember,
impossible
they-
now. They're hard to get.
Well, it was even more impossible before. Remember when Rolex just launched the Submariner with the ceramic bezel?
Yeah.
So after I did that, I said, sir, you didn't tell me about this bezel. This bezel is going to cost me $1,000. Can I give you $3,900 for this watch? I give you $3,000 right now. I drove all the way out here. I don't want to, go home with the empty-handed. Oh, no. Put my watch together. And they start throwing F-bombs and everything. I say, hey, man, just relax. Let me put your watch together. You go your way, I go my way. No problem. So we put the watch together, and after we put the watch together, as he's coming out of the Starbucks, he turned around and he go like, you know what, man? I feel bad about this. Let's renegotiate again. I said, there's nothing to renegotiate here. I'll tell you what. Out of respect for you to stop at that door and turn around and talk to me, I give you $3,100, and that's all I'm going to pay for this watch. So the watch, thank you. At least you're trying to work with me. And the guy said, come on, man, give me $3,300. I said, no. So I said, okay, I'll take it. So I gave him the $3,100, and he gave me the watch. The watch came in a bag, but these replicas are so he gave me a replica. By the time I'm on my car, especially a Rolex up, they look so similar.
Yeah. I mean, especially if it's in the bag.
I'm
and you just
already
left
check
it in
out the
bag.
watch. Why do I need to check out the watch again?
Well,
Yeah.
the same
It was. I didn't want to go to the whole. It took me an hour to put it back together, open the bag, make sure and he had that other watch in the same bag, Sam.
Yeah, you told me.
This
Like you had it in the
it-
same
then-
pocket, ready to pull it out and hand it to him.
He knew
as
what
if
he was doing.
going to do it the whole
He knew.
time.
I'll tell you
bro.
another one that I got robbed with $28,000 on the internet. I mean, the most clever guy, man. God almighty, what a...
He got you to send him money?
Oh, not that easy. I mean, I put 3 watches on eBay. I put 3 watches on eBay. And he contacted me through my phone number. When you be able to get the phone number from, you remember you were able to display your phone number on eBay.
Yeah.
Now eBay don't let
They
you.
don't, yeah.
They don't let you. So
Because
he
of
called me on
scams,
the,
probably, right?
Well,
Yeah,
they want to get every
They
dime
wanna
involved in the transaction.
See, that's
So
why
they
they-
want to make sure.
They stay involved.
Yeah.
the guy didn't want to do it through eBay. I said, hey, man, listen, I'm a doctor here in Huntington Beach, and I need those watches you got, and one is for my son, the other one is for me. It was a Panerai, it was a stainless steel Rolex Daytona. Everything accrued to $28,000. And I said, okay, well, let's do the deal. So, well, all you got to do is just deposit and you as a businessman, you need to know this. This is very important for you to know. This is something that it could happen to you. You know, it doesn't have to be a watch.
Okay.
So the guy, called me, okay, Juan, what do you need? He said, well, I want you to deposit the cash in my account. When you be able to deposit cash on the bank, remember now you can't. If you're not a member of the bank, they won't take cash.
Oh, okay, so you're saying.
Yeah, it was different time. It was in 2008, 2005. So the guy went and put all the money cash on my account, and I've shipped the watches. I've shipped the watches. I called my bank, and I called my bank. Listen, because at the time I had a business account and I have a personal business account guy. And man, can I let go of my watches? I said, yeah, Juan. He put the money all cash in your account. The money is all cash in your account. This was Bank of America. Okay, so the money is in my account. He got the watches. I sent the watches. Every time I call this man to talk to him,
He answered.
no. His secretary at Cambridge Hospital, hey, may I speak to Dr. Chip? Well, he's with the patient right now. He was never a doctor. He had it set up already. So
He had a fucking secretary.
Mr. Hudson, 12 days later, the bank charged me all that money back.
How?
And I go, what's going on? And I said, well, one, we said that it was a cash money, but he put fraudulent American Express traveler checks. And American Express traveler checks have to go through the system, but the bank gave me the money because, American Express traveler is cash money.
Yeah.
But when he went through the system, they find out they were fraudulent, so they charged me back.
Holy shit.
What do you do?
Well, you sue the bank, and in the course of those 12 days, I was able to take $14,000 out, but they still hit me with the $28,000. So what happened? I sued them. I got a lawyer. I sued them. The lawyer find out that the lawyer, I don't know. This is a brilliant lawyer. He found out a letter that the FDIC sent to the bank saying that not accept American Express traveler checks until they're clear. Don't give
So
it
they
the
shouldn't
money
put
to
a
the
hold on it.
Yeah, but they did not. They got somebody young that they didn't know. They pay these people $5 an hour or whatever they pay them at the time. I mean, they're not knowledgeable. They didn't get the memo. In so many other words, And well, what happened was I lost $10,000 because the bank was settled with me. The bank said, we're never going to pay you back the money, but we lost $14,000. You lost $10,000. You want to settle? And my lawyer told me, buddy, settle with them because
They'll go after the 14.
I'm going to nickel and dime you to death, and it's not going to be worth it to you. I mean, this is going to last 5 or 6 years. Jeez, you never know if you're going to get your money. Settle with them, and you're good. So I lost $10,000.
Was there ever any kind of criminal investigation? I mean, all you had was a guy's number. I guess, right?
Listen to this. So the guy, because I'm not that smart, but you use common sense. So what do I do, Sam and Mr. Hudson? I go to Google Earth, and pull out his house. This guy is a doctor. I'm thinking, well, the watch is going to this house and FedEx.
Because you had the address.
Yeah, I had the.
Okay.
So I pull out the house. I pull out the house. Listen to this guy. I pull out probably an $8 million state, a From Beach state in Huntington Beach. Okay, when the investigation came about, the FedEx guy gave the watches to. There was nobody at the home, but there was the gardener, the guy that take care of the state. That take the package. He was impersonating the maintenance guy on the house so that he can pick up the package as FedEx comes.
He was watching it to see.
He
when
was
it was
watching
coming.
it. Yeah.
So
well,
it
he
was
knew
really him, but
he could track the tracking
track it,
number.
yeah.
You can see where it goes and everything. And he was waiting there. Oh no, I'm the maintenance guy. I take care of the state. They told me to pick up all the packages I can sign for.
Wow, dude.
He did not live in that house.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean that's I'm telling you I'll tell you how clever they can get.
So I'm going to assume that now you don't do business unless you're face to face with people. Are you still shipping watches out?
It just depends on who they are. Depend if I know the guy.
relationship you have.
Yeah, just a relationship and there's always a risk involved in everything. Always. Yeah, but in every business, but.
Uh-oh.
I'm
Coming
still,
back
I'm
for
still,
you.
I'm still
I'm
wrong,
gonna
man.
keep coming back
I
for you
can't.
here.
Yeah,
Let me take this. We're gonna switch this to the right way. There we
I
go.
am. Very,
Okay.
I'm new to this, man.
No, I
you know.
know. That's my job. I'm supposed to help you here. There we go. Okay, we're good.
But yeah, they can get that clever. Oh, I can hear all the stories of other people and yeah.
I don't remember hearing about that $28,000. I know you told me about the other two when around the time those happened. That was horrible, man.
But one thing, but I might don't even want to talk about it, but
Oh, we got to know now.
I'm going
You
today.
started with it.
I bought a watch. I bought a watch at a jewelry store. At a
Storefront.
This is put you in perspective as well. At a jewelry store, I get the watch. It was a Frank Muller, a white gold Frank Muller master banker. I put him on eBay. That's a long story. So they arrest me because they thought that I stole the watch.
What?
3 days incommunicado. They came to my house because it was a big robbery. They have the it was enough. Yeah, and you know where I bought it from? He didn't know either. And from Dr. Go, what's his name? Tony Setti.
Oh,
So you bought a
Told you the
watch.
story.
yeah.
Yeah.
You bought a watch from a store, from a storefront.
that had been
with
reported
the receipt,
stolen.
with the receipt and everything that he wrote you, obviously, right? And then when they come to arrest you to take you away, are you not like, no, I have a receipt for this?
I'm at a bank because they listen to what they did. Listen to the Secret Service did. They call me and say, hey, man, what's it going to take to buy that watch? I said, well, if you go to the bank with me and bring me $9,500, I'll give you the watch. But listen, we are in a big investment company, and I have another couple that come with me that would like to buy a watch. Would you bring your watches so we can choose? I know I'm buying that one, but I guarantee you they got a big bonus, and they're gonna buy a watch today. They're gonna buy because of your feedback on eBay is so good and everything. So when I go to the bank, here's the three guys. There's him and a couple, and I sit on the table with them. Right away, here's on my watch. I said, well, chose that Frank Muller. When I put the Frank Muller out, the watch, and I give it to him, he go like, if this is the watch? And the couple went like, yes. The cops came from everywhere, manhandled me, threw me against the wall. I was just so scared because I didn't know what's going on. And obviously, it was a big robbery. You see, if you're a jewelry store, this is another liability you take, or you're a pawn shop. I can be a thief and I sell you the watch.
Yeah.
And then you sell me the watch back to me, and the watch will show up still. If maybe the customer see it, because at this time, the guy that the watch is being stolen from, he saw it on eBay and contact the Secret Service.
So he was the one that was watching the watch and setting it up. So were they intentionally having you bring other watches so they
Yeah,
could
to
seize
see
those too?
So to see because obviously it was a big robbery. If those other watches,
If you had more of
it
them.
was incorporated in this robbery.
Holy man.
Yeah, and they got me, man. They got me incommunicado for 3 days because
3 days.
Yeah, they got a warrant and they went and searched my house.
Bro.
They turned my house upside down. Yeah.
So what could you have done different to not be thrown in that situation, like besides going to a different
How?
store?
Well, you did everything right.
How?
Was
Now,
there any-
now I know you personally, Mr. Hudson,
Uh-huh.
and I buy a watch from you. You didn't know it was stolen.
Yeah, I know. Like, what could you have done different? I don't see.
That's a liability you have to take.
So it just seems like that immediately Tony could have called the cops or something, you know what I mean?
Tony
Just say-
didn't know.
Well, but
And let me tell you why Tony didn't know. Because when the cop came to verify my story,
Yeah.
I even begged them, listen, I was on handcuff, and I told him, listen, you don't need to, I'll take you to my house. I'll give you authorization, and I'm going to point where my receive. UMF. I mean, shut up. You're going to
They
talk
were
to the
just
detective.
treating you like a criminal?
Oh, yeah, they.
Wow.
What police department was that? Where was that at?
I think it was with McKinney.
McKinney. So it was local.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it was local. It was, yeah. I bought it from a guy. He's been in that jewelry store. He's up there in the corner of Midway and Belline.
Yeah.
Nice guy. And
Tony.
Tony. He didn't know.
It says Dr. Gold out front.
Yeah.
He did not. He was not intentional. To the fact that when the police came to the store, I said, "Hey, listen, do you sold this watch to Juan?" I said, "Yeah, I sold that watch to Juan. I even give him a receipt." I said, "How do you got this watch?" I bought it from a guy. Actually, I bought about 10 watches from it. They are on my safe. Yeah. You see, he lost all that money, so the police came and picked up all those watches from him. Because I didn't know. What's going on? I said, well, these watches are stolen. This guy is a thief. He's a gang. I think it was a big guy, big money guy in South Lake, and he all be stolen out of his house. So the guy really, one of the powerful. Tied up. I don't even know what the guy was, but I'm thinking that he was in law enforcement or some kind of position in the government. Something. That never happened. The police never go like that. So crazy. They never
bring
do that.
Secret Service in.
They never do that. Yeah.
So when they showed up at Tony's place and with the picture and asked, were you in jail still? Was that during that 3-day period, or was that after you had already gotten out?
No, they came in with the watch. They showed him up the watch. Did you show this watch to Juan? I said, yeah.
But
I saw that watch to
you
Juan.
were still in jail during that time?
Oh, yeah.
They didn't just let you out immediately?
No, they had to verify my story.
Yeah.
Because
That's
I didn't
so
have it.
crazy,
They didn't have the receipt. They
Yeah.
wanted to go talk to. I said, man, you go talk to that guy. I bought it from him. And I don't care if you guys say whatever you want to say. I got the receipt.
Yeah.
So just to try to unpack it all, so
I told you the story.
You told me, but it's hearing it again is just amazing.
yeah, just because I'm trying to wrap my head around it. So Tony, the guy that owns the store, paid the guy who stole the watches or who had the stolen watches.
Yeah.
He paid him, let's just say $30,000, right? So then you come in and you buy one of those watches, and then you pay Tony, let's just say $10,000 or whatever
Yes.
for one of those watches, right? So now we've got $40,000 out, you know what I mean, in the mix, and then the cops come and take the watches. So who loses on this deal? You just lost the money that you paid.
Well, I didn't, because I went back to Tony, and
He had to make it right.
He had to make it right to me. I was going to sue him.
Oh, okay.
Because he should know not
Yeah.
to sell
So Tony
stolen property.
Tony had to eat all that.
Yeah.
He did.
But
all-
how does Tony know it's stolen? How do you? Is there a
like
database you can put it in?
There's
Like I said-
not
like I
not
said,
that I'm
if you
aware
buy a
of.
watch at a pawn shop, I can come into.
So they know this risk automatically with the storefronts.
And this
Yeah.
speaks so loud about a very good series that just started on TV, I think it's in Apple TV. It's called Friends and Neighbors.
It's great, bro.
Are you seeing it?
Yes.
Are you seeing it?
There's
When-
only 2 episodes now, I think. Right?
no,
Is there?
there are 5.
Is there 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you saw
yeah,
that-
it's
the-
awesome, bro.
I don't watch TV, so you got to tell me.
Yeah,
Jennifer
well,
made me watch this, dude. It's
this
good.
is a good actor. What happened is a guy. This head fund guy. I mean, rich. He live in a beautiful neighborhood. Rich people had fun, but I don't even want to tell you. But you
No,
know,
you can tell me because I
but-
won't watch it.
It's-
well,
what's his name? John Hamm.
John Hamm, yeah, but-
Mad Men.
You know, he ended up. He didn't want to do it. He thought he was doing it with somebody else. But he go to bed. He has sex with the girl that work in the same building he does, and it was against company policy.
Okay.
So they
so
fired him.
They want to fire him because he have a big portfolio that constitute the company. He was the biggest guy on the company, and he's got a clause on the contract that he cannot talk to another hedge fund guy or work for another hedge fund guy for the next 5 years. So the guy, man, I got this house, I got all these bills. I'm sorry.
No, you're
How do I going to pay my bill? So he starts stealing from his friends and neighbors in that neighborhood.
Watches and cash.
So I'm gonna be
to
brief.
sell it.
Yeah.
Listen. So he goes. Let's speak about the watch business. So he goes and steals a 5711 white gold 5711, which is which I correct the show.
Yeah.
Because it's not such a thing as a 5711 in stainless steel.
Yeah.
The 57 is a 5811.
Yeah.
It's the one with white gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very rare watch. Very, very, very rare. So he steals that watch and he goes to a jewelry store. And when he goes to the jewelry store,
They're like, "Where'd you get this?"
no, the guy said, "Oh, okay," because the guy is a head fan. He doesn't look like a street guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a white.
He's
He's a white
well-dressed.
guy,
Oh,
well
okay.
dressed. And he said, "Well, okay." The guy said, "I give you 180,000 for it right now." And he said, "Why you give me 180,000? Retail on the watch is 225, and it's on the market right now for 350. 180,000. Take it or leave it." And he goes like, "Okay." So once he turned around, I said, "Well, before I write you a check, I need for you to bring me the box and the papers of the watch. And the guy go like, I don't have that. I don't have, it's been, he lied. He's told them. But he said, it's been given to me. And the guy went like this.
He knew it was stolen.
I don't want the
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
I don't want the watch, but I'm gonna
But-
give you I'm gonna give you the number who will buy this watch. So he goes to the pawn shop down in the most dilapidated part of the city, and then the story goes on.
Yeah. He sells it for about half that price, right?
Yeah,
because they know, okay, something's going on. You don't have a $200,000 watch and no box and papers, right?
Did you tell me that the whole box and papers thing is like a myth or?
Not necessarily a myth, but like
No.
that's not going to stop
Not-
a guy like Juan.
But
right?
but allow me, well, not if a 5811 come to
Well,
me with a
no.
box and paper. Those
But like
watches,
a Submariner.
those watches, they made like 20, 25 a year. You cannot find them, and it goes to a very selective guy that knows Patek only going to sell it to a collector that will keep. That watches will never. If it come with a box and papers, there's something fishy about
Yeah.
it. Now other watches don't.
That's what I was thinking. That don't they come in like a little plastic, like the little hard plastic, the Rolexes?
The Rolexes come in they have a hard plastic like a shipping container, and the boxes typically come separately, but they're gonna give you the box when you buy a new Rolex, right?
at
But
the store.
but like used like DFW watches or Dallas watch down the street, most of the boxes are the watches they have in their case aren't going to come with a box, and if they are going to come with a box, it's not going to be the box that came with that watch.
Does
right?
it add value? Does the box and papers?
I guess depending on
extremely.
the person, you think?
Oh, of course, yeah. The box and the papers on a Rolex is like a birth certificate. It bears the serial number, the bracelet number, the date and the year, the warranty. I mean, it's very important. You don't increase the price on the watch if you have box and
It
papers.
wouldn't make me not want to buy the watch though, right? Like I don't. To me, I mean,
But
especially if it's out of warranty.
But you will buy according without having box and paper. Usually, box and papers, I don't know, in an average watch, I don't know, $1,000 on value.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
It just depends on the watch.
It's not like a make or break.
But
deal.
like I've bought watches before from DFW watches from Matt Overstreet, right?
Yeah.
Where
Another great guy.
great guy, but
Yeah.
I bought a Deep Sea from him a couple of years ago, and the Deep Sea comes in a specific big Rolex box, like the extra large box. But mine was like the normal Submariner box, and I didn't care, right? I knew that wasn't the right, but I'm sure he probably was like, shit, I need a box, and just threw it in a box for me. He probably got that watch without a box. I think that happens a lot.
So it's not a deal breaker. It's not like
It depends on the end user, I guess, right?
Depended, because I have people that want to watch, and one thing I say, well, it doesn't come with the papers. I don't want one. I don't want
Really,
any
you
number.
run into that?
Oh, a lot.
Wow. Yeah.
People,
So
people
what do you
want the
do?
paper. Well, trying to find the watch with the papers. That's the same model with papers.
So where all the papers going is what I want to know. Like, do they
people,
all
man,
come?
People just don't know.
Yeah, they just
people
don't keep 'em.
People don't keep them.
Yeah. It's funny we still say papers with Rolex.
Or they get divorced and they're living in the other house,
Yeah.
or they lose them,
But-
or they don't know where they put them.
We say papers because it used to literally be a folded piece of paper.
Now
with-
it's a card. Right?
Now it's just a little credit
Card,
card.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I still kind of got cold feet about
Well,
jumping in on a big
but a
purchase.
watch, certain watches, like he was saying, a Patek with no papers, red flag.
Really?
A Richard Mille with no papers, that's not going to fucking happen unless it's stolen.
Especially like the one. Do you saw how he stole the Felipe Massa? You haven't seen that episode?
No, no.
Oh, buddy, you up for a treat?
Yeah, I need to catch
yeah.
up.
All that's fake, right? Like what you're
Yeah,
it's just-
dude. But it's
Well,
awesome, bro.
The
It's
rich,
really
the
good.
Richard
Yeah.
Mille, Felipe Massa. He's still one of them.
Really?
They only made 1 year 50 of them. It's one of the most desirable Richard Milles.
Wow.
And he, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I feel like in the past 5 to 7 years, maybe like 5 years, that these big $1 million watches, those big, like real huge pieces, I feel like those are getting more popular. Like more people can.
Well, we definitely see a lot more of
distinguish
them
'em
online,
on TV,
right?
yeah.
On shorts and stuff. But Jacob and Co. He makes these big, elaborate, just dual tourbillon watches that have just exquisite, beautiful watches. But I've never seen one in the wild. Right? Have you ever ran across somebody wearing one of those like Astronomias or whatever? Yeah,
Never.
you
The
know, but- and they're
Astronomia,
$1 million
the
watches.
Godfather. They have so many
I mean,
of them.
But they're bro. They're
They're
like
just
52
not attractive.
millimeter huge. They're like something you keep in your
Display.
watch case.
Oh, sorry, display.
Me too. Are you a golfer?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah.
I wish.
I was going to talk about the Baba Watson watch.
Yeah, I had a customer trying to sell one of those a while back. The same guy you just sold the Sky Dweller to.
I doubt it. That watch was real, man.
I know.
See,
it's
y'all
a
are not,
weird deal,
y'all are
man.
not giving me the warm, fuzzy feeling about like being confident in this whole watch game. Because
No. Well, this particular guy, he
what do we
obviously
do?
has
Just
money.
lean on somebody like y'all? Like, I mean, because I trust you, Sam, and I trust you too because y'all are buddies. But what I'm saying is, like, what if you don't have a Sam and a Juan Carlo? How do you not get screwed over? Especially if you're buying pre-owned stuff.
Usually, the guy that buy pre-owned it knows a little bit about watches. It's just you gotta be in that realm, man. I mean, it's just kind of like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, you
Like you just met us. If you know this Rolex, let me put you in a hypothetical sample. Now one of your customers come and said, you know what? You did a 5,000. This is hypothetical.
Trying to
They probably
trade out.
never trying to trade out for the Rolex. What are you going to do? You're going to call me or you're
Yeah.
going to call Sam. Make sure the watch is real.
Straight away, yeah.
Make sure that the watch is about what he spent at your store.
Yeah.
So you already met us. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
but what if we don't have y'all? Like, I got another guy too, Markham. He used to own Markham's Jewelers.
you know him. I think.
oh, very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He bought so many watches from me.
Markham's a great guy.
Oh,
And we do all of his cars. He's a
what
great dude.
what's his name? Oh my God, I haven't talked to him after he left Markham. What's his name?
This is Markham Tegans.
Martigans, Mr. Martigans. Very good friend of
Great
mine.
guy.
Very
Great
good
dude.
friend of mine. I
He's-
know him very well.
He got out of it. Like, he sold his part in the
I didn't know
business.
He's in real estate now.
Yeah, and then now he'll carry jewelry around with him too. Drive
Yeah.
around in a Sprinter van. Great dude, but he's got some pieces with him too that and we've traded work too. Like, I'll
Really?
do a wrap for him, and I got a tennis bracelet for my wife and stuff like that.
He's a good guy.
So he's a really good dude too.
I'm knowing Mark Diggins. Maybe you don't remember. I don't know how long you've been living in Dallas. When he used to manage Corrigan's Jewelers.
No, I didn't know him then.
Remember Lynn's Jeweler as well?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Sounds familiar. Were
yeah,
they off
he-
Central?
No, they were in North Park.
Oh, North Park. Okay.
North Park. There was few of them, but he was the manager. You remember Corrigan's?
No.
You guys are young guys.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I've been in Dallas since 1980.
So tell me, obviously you're from Cuba, right? Is
Yeah.
that where you're from?
Yeah.
So how did you make that transition? Like, did your parents bring you over? Did you come over on your own? or-
No. I came in with the do you remember the exodus of Cubans that came in the Maria boat lift in 1980?
No, I was only 4.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, I was 23 years old.
so
yeah.
you was running your prime.
Yeah. I mean, he was the biggest. Have you ever seen the movie Scarface?
Yeah.
At the beginning, that's how
That's what it
Scarface
is.
came in 19.
Yeah.
Remember all those Cubans come? There was one of the biggest.
Refugees, basically.
Yeah,
right?
refugee.
Okay.
It was 250,000 of them. That's a big story behind it. Why they came? It's just a long story, but I was in prison in Cuba for defecting the army, for being an army defector.
Yep.
At the time, they gave me a furlough after 3 years, and all that happened in Cuba when Castro, was letting people. It's just a long story. How do I explain this? Jimmy Carter went to the public opinion. Look at Castro. It was in the middle of the Cold War, right in the middle, the effervescence of the Cold War. So Jimmy Carter went to the public opinion telling about Castro because in Cuba, you can ask for asylum in any embassy. Every embassy in Cuba of any country they have Cuban guards outside for people not to ask asylum. And these Cuban young guys came with the bus and threw themselves into the embassy of Peru. In the misfire, one of them killed the other guard. It was a big international thing. You can look it up on the internet. And the Peruvian people let the Cuban come in. It was like 10,000 people in the grounds of the embassy asking for asylum.
Wow.
So Jimmy Carter went like, look what happened in Cuba. People are oppressed. No human rights. Look, they're trying to leave the country. And Castro go like, whoever wants to leave, let them go. Come and get them. So all the Cubans from Miami come and get their families. They all come in boats and kept their families and their brother and the city, trying to get them out of the communist government. So when they come in with the boat, Castro go like, okay, who you come here to pick up? Well, I got my mother, I got my sister, I got my nephew, I got my, my son. I said, well, okay, but this is a communist government, sir. This is not going to fall this way. For every member of your family that you're going to go pick up, we're going to get 10 of these people. 10 of these people for every, are you in or you out? No, I'm in, because they come on big boat. So Castro started emptying the jails and the mental hospitals. And it was a nightmare. Wow. That's when DEA was created. There was a Time magazine that got in the desk of Ronald Reagan. It read like, Florida Paradise Lost because of the Cubans. I mean, the crime, that movie. See, Oliver Stone, Oliver Stone, the director of the movie, only write American epics. Remember the 4th of July, Vietnam War. He interviewed Fidel Castro too. It's a big documentary about it. I think he was nominated for an Academy Award for the documentary. This happened 10 years ago. But, and this was an American epic. It was the first screenplay written by Oliver Stone, and he gave it to Brian De Palma. And Brian De Palma, made the movie. But the screenplay is Oliver Stone.
Really?
Yeah, because it was an epic. It was one of the biggest exodus this country had ever met. I mean, it was 250,000 people in less than a month.
So what was it like?
It was just
mayhem?
Yeah.
Just...
Well,
you made it to Miami.
Well, I made it to Miami, but they knew I was in the military. Okay. So they
want you. They want you bad, right? Like they want to kill you basically, right?
But so the 2 U.S. Marshals put me in a military airplane and sent me with 2 U.S. Marshals. They sent me to La Crosse, Fort McCoy, Wisconsin.
What the hell?
Wow. Do you speak English at all at this point?
Come on, man.
That's what I thought.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I stayed there for quarantine and interrogation. There was the nicest people in the world.
They didn't treat you bad?
Oh, they treat me like a lady.
Did they give you all the shots?
No, they along with me, there was a lot of other Cubans. They were stayed at that camp. A lot of them. No, they treat us like, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, and they asked me, so you have family here? I said, yes, I do have family here. All my family live in Miami, my aunts and everything. But the one that is really here is my dad. But I don't know where he at, because my dad left me when I was 2 years old. And
he came over here?
He came to the United States, never wrote us back, abandoned us.
What?
Yeah, my dad, yeah. So, but I always wanted to meet my dad. That's one of the reasons why I really wanted to raise myself. I always dreamed to, it's kind of, if you never grow up with a dad, it's what happened to you. You all want to meet your dad. If you knew that your dad is alive, I just want to meet him. And I didn't know where he was. And man, lieutenant colonel, interviewed me, really nice guy. I said, so what is your dad's name? Oh, his name is Enrique Gonzalez. I said, okay, we'll sit in that room. 30 minutes later, he got me with my dad on the phone.
Wow.
Now, remember, it's 1980.
Yeah.
There's no internet. How do they?
Wow.
My dad was the catering director. No. He was, the food and beverage director of the Fairmont Hotel, which was the number one hotel in the state of Texas. I mean, now they have so many hotels.
Yeah.
That was before the Marriott, It was actually, there was such a popular hotel. It was such a good hotel that they made a series on TV about it, about the Fairmont Hotel. It's called Hotel. It was, the principal guy that is in that series is the guy that is married to Barbara Streisand now.
Oh,
so your dad was in Texas at that point?
Yeah,
he was
in Dallas. Yeah.
What the hell?
So I met him, and it was a rejoice. And
you came from Wisconsin? Is that where they had you? Is that
they
moved you down here?
Well, no, I was in a military base. It was time for me to leave. So they asked me, where do you want to go? You want to go to your family, You know, they will pay for everything. They pay for the airfare. They pay for everything.
Wow.
Everything. They treat me like a lady, man. Yeah. I'll listen. A lot of people, let's see how I'm going to put this in words. A lot of people have problem, including me now. And I'm part of the program. I have problem paying taxes at the end of the year. You know, I've never paid this country with money what this country have given me. In compare what I was living in Cuba, I'll never pay them. It's not going to happen. They give me the freedom. They give you the respect that I never had in my own country, the dignity that every human being deserves.
This was 1980.
That's in 1980. Yeah, I can't complain about them. I mean, they were.
Well, while we're talking about it, fast forward to like 2024 or 2023, when our government was doing something here that I think was unprecedented. You know, where other countries were letting out their criminals and letting out people out of their prisons and stuff and coming straight here. When our government was just letting everybody straight in. Did it make you feel conflicted, you know, by you see the wrong people coming over here versus back whenever you were in the position, you know what I mean? And you had to come over here and do everything the right way. You couldn't just get, you know, free money. You had to come over here. And like you said, it was time for you to leave. They gave you a plane ticket or whatever and let you leave.
Yeah. With these people right now, it's a great area there because, like in any endeavor, you get the good with the bad. There's some people that want to realize the American dream. They come in the wrong way. They have no money to pay an embassy or a senator in their country so they can get the papers because in the papers in the country, so they try to do it at the mercy of the United States, and that's when the problem comes. And then they come in this conglomeration of people, and the gangs are created trying to survive. It's just an ugly human endeavor, man. I don't know how to, I don't know. It's just...
Your perspective is interesting, you know what I mean? As
Yeah,
being from another country and coming over here and living it and then being able to have the American dream, own your own business, drive the Mercedes, you know. You've worked hard, you've earned that. You know, and I feel like a lot of the immigrants and a lot of the illegal aliens come here and they take that same path. They work hard as hell. They try to do everything the right way that they can. But if that little minority of them that are doing the wrong thing, that come over here and rape and kill and murder, you know what I mean?
Squatting homes.
It just gives everybody
But you're gonna have him. If you go to Europe, you know, the Ethiopian doing that in Italy.
Oh,
They're doing the same thing. It's just part of the process, part of the human tribulation, I guess. They don't have the opportunity. They you know, you have to understand this thing. I mean, these people come with no family. I got family that give me a hand, give me a place to live until I, you know. I mean, but some of these people, they come by themselves. They don't know what to do. I just, everybody's different.
No.
I'm torn on it too. You know, it's easy for us, especially as business owners, just to be like, you know, screw the immigrants. You know, we pay taxes. We pay taxes out the ass. You know, they're over here getting money for free, getting free food, getting thousands of dollars.
I know a lot of them that have been here for 25 years and haven't even attempted to become legal, though. That's what it's like. But then, you know, maybe it's where do they start? That's the whole problem. I don't know. It's crazy.
And then the good immigrant with good families and good money come from Pakistan and they train themselves to be pilots, and boom, they throw the planes in the Twin Towers in New York. How do you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get the good with in every business. You can have you can have somebody get here and work in you, whatever you do, Mr. Houston, and then trying to scoop up your store so they can come and rob you tomorrow.
Yeah, true.
I mean, you'll never know. And at the same time, you befriend this guy. It's just part of the human process, man. You know, it just, I don't know.
So,
but look at what happened to you. The guy that you worked for you, that you trusted. I mean, and he was not an immigrant. I mean,
No, you're right.
he stole you blind. I mean, you trusted that guy.
No, yeah.
I mean,
I never have had a problem with any of the guys working for me that were immigrants. I did have one that decided to machete a car on the way to work. I don't know if we talked about that on a previous episode, but and one of the guys that worked for us, quiet guy, great worker, had a little bit of a road rage incident on the way to work one day and jumped out of his car on Central Expressway with a machete and chopped the fuck out of a car that he, that was trying to get over in front of him or whatever.
It was on the news.
Went viral. Yeah, he didn't make it to work that day.
Do you knew that? Do you interact with the guy?
Yeah, he worked for me for like a year.
What type of?
Normal dude, just like any of my guys, just nice, polite.
You'll never know, man.
It's fucking A, bro. It's really wild. Well, so when did you actually get to Dallas? What year was it when you made it to Dallas to begin your career here?
I came here in June of 1980.
Wow.
So okay, so you did. I was thinking you spent time in Miami for a while before you.
I spent 2 weeks in Miami.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
but Miami, you couldn't stay in Miami. The killings, just like the
It's like the Wild Wild West, right?
Just like Scarface.
Wow.
If you really want to see what happened in Miami on those days, you need to rent this documentary. It's called Cocaine Cowboys.
I've seen
I've
that.
seen that.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. It was
Wow.
killing.
It's
the
It was
Wild
killing.
Wild West,
It was the
Yeah.
Cuban. It was the Cubans trying to the Cubans that like Scarface trying to control the drug because the drug was controlled by the Colombians. So the Cubans were coming out of prison. They taking over the Colombians,
Yeah.
and the war. It
That's
was
wild.
dead people. It changed the face of the whole South Florida. People putting bars in their windows. I mean, when you go to Miami, if you go to Dade County, you can see all the houses have bars in the window because there were thieves, killers, murderers. I mean, there were all kinds of people
Just
came.
wild, right?
It was
That's
just wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
I heard, I think on that Cocaine Cowboys documentary, they were saying that at one point, like 95% of the money going through all the banks in Miami was all drug money. Was all,
Yeah.
all the buildings being
But-
built,
but that-
all financed by it.
Scarface teach you, when they go with bag of money to this bank and the president of the bank go like, oh my God, don't bring that cash,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like that.
That's nuts, man.
Oh yeah, the government's involved in all that. Just like the opiates, you know what I mean? It's like all the opiates that we have in our country, all the pharmaceutical opiates. Like, where's that opium coming from?
No, we're guarding it. I've seen the
It's not coming
documentaries
from
about,
here.
Well, in Afghanistan, our we literally our troops were guarding the opium production,
The fields. Yeah.
the fields, because that's I'm sure Pfizer has a lot to do with that shit.
bet, They need it.
Yeah, it's the
It
drug
was
dealers
diff-
now are
it
wearing
was
white
different-
coats.
It was different times, man. It
Yeah.
was just a different vibe.
Yeah.
It was the 80s.
Well, when did you start selling watches? Was it in the 90s or when? 'Cause you
No,
had a
I
car
started selling
dealership,
watches.
right?
I lost my job.
Okay.
When do I start selling watches? I made really good money as a finance director at a dealership, and I lost my job, and I couldn't get into another. Actually, I didn't lose my job. There was some kind of a license problem the dealer have, and I needed to be licensed, and they didn't want to license me. It's a long story.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost my job. I needed to pay my mortgage. So I had a very expensive stereo. I sold my stereo, and I have a couple of Rolex watches.
Yeah.
And I knew what I would pay for. I had a GMT, a silver GMT, and a silver sub.
Okay.
And I forgot. I think I paid for the sub like $3,500, and for the GMT I paid like $4,500. I ended up selling it for double the money, and I go like, "This is where it's at."
Yeah.
So I start buying watches with my credit card and reselling them, and that's how I start doing it with
That's
my
a
credit
risk.
card.
That's a risk
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, and I did. Took a lot of risk.
Yeah.
I mean, my mortgage, I started selling because I was at the finance office, I started selling my Armani suits on eBay. Make good money doing that too.
Really?
Then I ended up going to Sac Fifth Avenue when they used to have an outlet here in Grapevine Mills.
Yeah.
And buying the clothes and put them on the shoes, the Italian shoes, and put them. Yeah, and that's how I accumulate the wealth to buy watches.
Wow, man.
Selling my old clothes
Really?
that I knew I was not going to wear. I got very expensive suits.
So
Yeah.
once you left the automotive, you just went all out on your own after that. And
All
then
on my
it's
own.
Shark,
All
now
on my-
you got to hunt your own food at that point.
Oh, yeah.
So was your initial clientele people in the car industry still? Because most finance guys and dealerships, pretty much all of them, if you notice, all have nice watches
Oh,
on.
yeah.
eBay. eBay.
really?
When eBay was eBay.
Yeah.
When eBay didn't charge any taxes.
Yeah.
When eBay only charge you, if you sell a watch, they only charge you $250. Now they want 7%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
of
you
your
can't-
profit. Yeah,
So, what do
that's
you
why
think-
I'm not there anymore.
How
Do you
is
think
that
the
fair?
gig, though, is people like you would post something on eBay, maybe put, I know you can't put your phone number there anymore, but it just seems like they're using eBay to market. Hopefully these people can somehow contact them outside of
It's
eBay.
a way
'Cause
to
how do they make money selling watches on eBay when it's 7% plus the initiation fee or whatever all the fees they're charging? It just seems like to be competitive, you just can't be.
Just steal your watches.
I mean, I'll tell you another one that is really even more than that, and how you explain how people sell watches in there. Chrono 24.
Yeah.
Chrono 24, man, they charge like, I mean, they not only charge taxes, which is increases the prices of the watch.
Fee, I think, just to be
but they charge 7-8% to the seller.
Wow.
And I think the buyer has to have a buying fee too,
Yeah,
besides what he paid. And then you have to pay the taxes. Yeah. See, when you get a wholesale like me, you know, I mean,
let's leave that part out.
Yeah, I mean, you have the ability, that's why I don't take a credit card, because if I set myself with a credit card, I have to charge taxes.
Yeah, true.
Because it's documented.
Yeah, unless you do business to business, do it with
Exactly,
somebody's tax ID or something.
Yeah, but
man, I got one more question about I'm just intrigued with the whole, like, you coming to the United States. So when you come and you land over here, you land as an illegal immigrant, right?
Yeah, but they
automatically start.
I'm remember, it's in the core of the Cold War, so automatically began to be a political refugee, and we have what we call the adjustment law for the Cubans, because we don't have diplomatic relationship with United States.
Yeah, at all.
Yeah, so we are political refugees. So right away we have to have papers. They give us the papers, right away.
Yeah.
But depend on where you're from. I mean, what family you come from. They study you before. I mean, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's an immigration process. They ask you a bunch of questions. They want to know your family, criminal records.
Did you have to learn about all the American history and all that too to become a citizen?
Of course,
you
yeah.
had to learn all that.
Oh,
right?
you got to. Yeah. It was easy. It was not difficult, But I mean, it was easy to get citizenship then. Not now. Now it's just almost impossible.
Well, when Biden was here, it was not impossible.
It was. It was even worse.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, I know people that. Yeah, it just take a long time. It was different process before, It was a different process before.
Well, I was hearing stories of people at the border as they're coming across be given a court date 9 years in advance, But does that make them semi-legal at that exact point? Because if you have a court date pending, they can't kick you out, right? So
I don't know. I think that's what they're fighting now. They're fighting that exact litigation in court about how they're sending these people back.
It's different now.
It is tough. And
different
like you
people.
Said, you never know what
different. None of those people are political refugees, because all those people that come have relationship with United States, like Salvador, Venezuela. They all,
Yeah.
I mean,
but like you said earlier, you can't. I mean, there has to be some way of
the
vetting these people.
Cold
You
War,
never know
man.
who
the
you're
Cold
letting
War
in.
between Russia, because Russia was a satellite of Cuba at the time when in the 1980. I mean. Yeah. So, I mean, wherever it come from Cuba, it was glorified, the United States government, among the public opinion, because they
was like we were
up the
sticking it to
refugees.
Russia,
The people of Cuba wants to leave. We're picking up the refugees. It was different climate, political climate, totally different, 180 degrees different. I mean, it was totally different.
So do you think if you never would have got out, you think you would have stayed in jail over there, or do you think they would eventually let you out?
No, they would eventually let me out. But the life in Cuba is just, Cuba is one of the worst third world countries in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
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 You it's so beautiful from what I've seen in pictures. Like, it's amazing that it's that bad.
They have no electricity. And this last week, they have no electricity for the last 3 days.
Wow.
I heard that going on in
Europe too,
wasn't it?
Yeah, but in Cuba, happening constantly.
You still have family there?
No.
No.
All my family
It's here.
Yeah, I got a nephew. That's another thing. See, my brother got murdered in Cuba because we weren't sending money. Me and my brother sending money. They knew that my brother had money, and they killed him for the money. My brother. That happened 5 years ago.
Really? That
Yeah, my little brother.
I'm
That's
sorry to hear
It's
that,
that
bro.
bad is in Cuba.
it's still a communist state.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, didn't we recently
blown.
open up some sort of relationship
but
where you
they
can
have
visit there now or something?
You can visit there, but do you know Tony Chiarello? No, you don't. He went, this is a guy that traveled the world. Really nice guy. He go like, I went to Cuba, but I will never go back there again. It's one of those places because it's so much poverty. There's so much dilapidation. I mean, getting into a 5-star hotel is like staying in La Quinta here.
Really?
Yeah, it's just really bad because Cuba, you know what happened to Cuba? Cuba can commercialize with anybody in the world because of the embargo. So, and this embargo had last 65 years.
Why? What started it? Was it just because of the communist state?
No, because of that's one of the stipulations that they got after the October crisis when the Russians put the nuclear head against the United States that got United States on their knees, man. Everybody was so scared here. And Kennedy told them, there was a treaty that they did, because they were able. This is a big story.
Yeah.
You know the story, right?
It's the Cuban Missile Crisis.
The
right?
missile crisis,
Yeah.
And the deal was that we will never, because before that, they went to the Bay of Pigs invasion, which they failed. And then Castro, you're going to invade me again, so I'm going to get together with the Russians, this was a really totally United States fault. And I'm going to explain to you why. What happened was, at this moment, what I was going to say, I lost my train of thought, thinking about something else.
How was the Americans' fault?
Well, no, we were talking about
the Cuban Missile Crisis.
the Cuban Missile Crisis. What happened was that it was a treaty. Kennedy said, we're not going to invade Cuba anymore, but we're going to put an embargo in Cuba. Then nobody going to be able to commercialize with Cuba. Cuba's going to, you guys going down. And they did.
Cut their supply of the money supply.
Everything. Wow. Cuba can even commercialize with other. They don't have, in order for Cuba, that's when the United States owned the Panama Canal to go, to around, commercialize with the people so they can trade with the people of South America. The big ship, you have to go through
the canal,
United States charged triple to Cuba that it charged to other because of the embargo. So Cuba couldn't do it. So they couldn't.
So they couldn't even bring product.
Yeah, because of what Cuba did to the United States. They said, you put it in our knees. Guess what I'm going to do to you now?
Yeah. And that's just never going to end?
Never.
And how is that fair to the people of Cuba?
This is another thing. You ever heard of Guantanamo Bay?
Yeah.
That's a United States base up there.
Mm-hmm.
Obama went up there trying to create, a relationship with Castro.
Okay.
And Castro go like, I'll do whatever you want me to. I follow your philosophy. No problem, Mr. Obama. But before I do that, you need to get out of my house. You need to get out of here. The lease is already over. It was Batista, president before Castro, that leased it to the United States, and the lease ended in 1961. I said, you need to,
They want the jail gone?
Yeah, no.
The base.
The base, the military base.
Yeah.
And United States not going to give up that base. And that's why Cuba and United States will never open relationship. A lot of presidents try, but just because of that reason, United States don't want to, they're not going to give up. And I don't blame them. It's just, it's a, military position in the middle of the Americas. This is a big, big place. It's just like it's a city. Guantanamo Bay is a city.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the reason why, but.
It's going to always be locked like that, like it's never.
But what happened between Cuba, back in 1960, Castro wanted to be allied with the United States. But he gave the presidency of the bank to Che. Have you heard of Che? Che Guevara?
Oh yeah.
Che Guevara.
Yeah.
And Che Guevara went to the public, to the world market with the tobacco and the sugar and the nickel. It was Cuba is known for to produce more than anybody in the world. So when Guevara goes to remember, United States just throw the atomic bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, this happened in 1960, nobody wanted to bid in the world market against the United States.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to bid. So Che Guevara goes, hypothetically, the pound of sugar was, I'm giving you a hypothetical number.
Yeah.
It's $1 a pound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when he go to the world market, United States told him, okay, I'll buy all your sugar. I'll be your best friend. I'll buy your pound at 20 cents a pound. And Guevara go like, what? Why would you want to do that? If the world market, you want to keep me, this is Guevara. You want to keep me oppressed to all those satellite government you have around no, we are a proletariat, we are communists, you're not going to do that to us. Nikita Khrushchev told Che Guevara, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you $1.35. And that's how they became allied.
Okay.
And that's how Cuba, because Cuba never wanted to be allied. Cuba never wanted to be communist. Read the story. There's a big documentary on PBS about it. Yeah. That's what happened to Cuba and the United States.
Really? And it's still like that to this day?
Oh, to this day. Worse than ever. Huh. Yeah.
So they can't export anything?
No. Plus, nobody wants to commercialize with Cuba because Cuba don't have the money to pay.
Yeah.
It's like, you ever, once again, referring to your age, you're very young, man. But you remember Jacques Cousteau?
Oh, yeah.
The explorer?
Vaguely.
Yeah, Jacques Cousteau said.
Stories, yeah.
Yeah, Jacques Cousteau said, he was a very good friend with Castro.
I didn't know that.
Jacques Cousteau said that Cuba it was the most beautiful island in the world. You know why? Because it was the coral reef. They're so beautiful in Cuba.
Yeah.
But you know why? Because there's no waste. There's no industrialization. There's no oil in Cuba.
Yeah.
So there's no waste. There's no pollution. So
nothing to damage it.
So Jacques Cousteau loved Castro just because of that fact.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a reason. They were so poor.
Yeah.
So
you can't produce waste if you have no money.
Exactly, or industrialization.
Yeah. No factories or anything.
So Jacques Cousteau said, "Man, look at this coral reef. This is the most beautiful. Look at the fauna here. Look at the flora. Yeah, of course. There's no pollution. It's a Caribbean island with no pollution. You know."
That's some great stories. I bet you got some good ones too.
Oh, I can.
Could you imagine being 20 years old and leaving the United States?
What a journey, man!
Like by yourself. You know what I mean? Like, dude, that would be intense.
So how long do you feel like you were here to assimilate like you have done so well? Was that over a period of a couple of years, or did that take a decade to?
No, it took a long time. It took about a decade. Yeah. I did all kinds of jobs, Sam. I did all kinds, man.
Yeah.
And now it's just.
I started working as a houseman at the Anatole Hotel. The guy that houseman.
Yeah.
That prepared the room for the conventions and stuff like that. Put the chair. I did that. I did, you name it, I done. I used to sell signs. I think I've done it all. Sell cars. Did so well selling cars that they put me in the finance office.
You never been married and never had kids?
Yes. I got a daughter. I got 3 grandkids.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Got married with my wife. It was beautiful. And I can't complain about my life, really.
Been good?
Yeah,
That's
very
awesome,
good.
Man.
So far, so good.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I hear a lot of Cubans there, and they work hard. A lot of them in the service industry, like hotel industry and stuff like that. Dude.
But at the same time, there's bad ones too.
True.
Because I know them. I mean, it's just like everything else. It's just like any face of humanity. You're gonna have the good ones. You can be ethnicized the people just because you're your ethnicity, and there's good people and bad people in every walk of life.
Yeah. It's just imaginary lines on the ground that we're all fighting over. That we're all arguing over.
Yeah. So
something you can't even see.
I've been talking, man. I never did the podcast.
Well,
I'm talking like crazy.
No, man. We appreciate so much your time here, man. I really thank you for stopping by and talking with us. I'm very interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just to see what you built, man. That's
pretty awesome, bro.
All by yourself too.
Very cool.
It's a different world. For me and Sam, we're used to it. You two probably, like, if you don't perform, you don't eat. You know what I mean? We're numb to it by now. But I think a lot of the listeners that we have and people that have 9-to-5 jobs don't really realize what it's like to be a shark out here and have to make sure you got food for your family and food for everybody that you take, your guys, your employees, we take on that responsibility.
Yeah.
So many people get the handcuffs to where they get that check every 2 weeks. They don't ever want to try to do anything different. But sometimes it's a good thing to have that security too. We could have a slow month and things could be bad, but I think for the most part, if you work hard here, especially in Dallas and Texas, this market,
There's so much.
A lot of money
if,
here.
If you don't flourish in this country, you're mentally ill.
Really, you think so?
Totally. No, totally.
Or lazy.
They mentally ill. That's a mental. That's depression or whatever. If you're lazy because you have no ambition, I would consider that a mental illness. How can you not have an ambition? How can you not want to be better yourself? It's only one life to live.
So many people that don't, though. So many people that are just
Well, there's so
happy
many people like
with
that.
handouts, getting food stamps or getting free
Homeless
money.
people. What's the difference between them or you and me? They all have this. They all put their pants like we do in the morning, the same way. Yep. It's just mentally ill, man. They don't click. It's brain chemistry, I think. Because if you don't make it here, there's so much opportunity here, man. If you really want to do it, and so many good people that help you too, trying to get your goal. If they see you working hard, it's just impossible. There's so much opportunity here, like in any other part of the world. Yeah. This is the land of the opportunity.
I think that's why everybody's so,
that's why everybody wants to be here. Yeah, everybody wants to be here.
You can't do what we do pretty much anywhere else in the world,
Yeah.
Say what you want to say.
And the laws we have and the dignity. Everybody follow the model of United States. You look at all this country, all the laws are almost similar, but we were the one to create them at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate, man.
So back in Cuba, is it majority like Catholics? Or is it Christians?
Catholic, Christian. Then a lot of people practice the Santeria, the African Santeria, because there's a lot of African penetration in Cuba. A lot of
like
Afro-Cuban music.
Witch doctor?
The what?
Like witch doctors?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They practice a lot that in Cuba. A lot. In New Orleans. In Cuba, it's a lot.
Like the chicken sacrifices and stuff like that.
They do that. Yeah.
Chicken feed.
That's an ignorant part of the people. And then you come over here, and then you see the people worshiping Satan and doing crazy stuff. It's like everything else.
What state capital was that where they have a monument set up for Satan? Like, was it in Utah?
Oh man,
there's so much of that stuff everywhere.
Who would allow that? That doesn't make any sense.
The only way. This is my perspective. This is my perception. The only way you can free a nation is through education. Yeah. You educate your people, education sets you free. Because you know what's going on around you, you know what you know your future, you can prepare your future, but you have to be educated. You have to have that knowledge about the good and the bad. A lot of people don't. And it started at their home. Their parents don't teach them right.
Yeah.
Well,
look at a lot of communist countries like Cuba, I'm sure, and China. They don't allow that education. They block it out. They block
you
the
to
internet.
stay
They
a
block.
worker.
Yeah, dude. They don't want. Look what the people of North Korea think about the supreme leader. No butthole.
What is
shoots
that?
an 18 every time he plays golf.
How does that make any sense? He hasn't gone to the restroom.
I know.
Why would you?
They can't really believe that. I think they're afraid not to
go
believe
against
that.
it.
Yeah.
What was that all about? Why would he need to do all that stuff?
I don't know. It's crazy. He claims that every time he plays golf, he shoots an 18. A hole-in-one on every hole.
Yeah. And then I saw him the other day on TV sitting at the stairs of the Capitol. You saw that? Protesting with a bunch of other people.
No, I didn't see.
Oh yeah, he's sitting in the on the stairs of the Capitol. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man, with some other senators and stuff like that in there.
Wow.
Yeah, that happened 2 days ago. Maybe yesterday or maybe. Yeah, man.
Wow.
These days, it's like you never know what to expect.
Yeah. You see the judges getting arrested finally?
Yeah.
God, bro.
Did she get arrested?
Two of them have been arrested. They were harboring, like hiding these criminal illegal aliens from ICE, bringing them to their house, letting them shoot their guns. I read. Did you hear about that?
I don't understand. It's white people doing this too. Like, what?
No. I don't know.
That-
It's just
see,
to
right
spite
there,
Trump,
you know.
bro. It's just to spite Trump, I think.
You
There's
think
no
so?
way they think that is the right thing to do, especially as a judge. How
Yeah.
does that even... And the fact that there's people on their side, wow, man. There's a lack of education, I guess, right?
It is.
Mental illness.
Or it's just intentional.
That's all I say, man. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not.
It's intentional. It has to be to break
Oh,
it
yeah,
up.
dude.
Because if we all got together and had one goal in mind, like all the people in this country, and dude, we would be unstoppable.
Yeah.
We wouldn't need a government to tell us what to do because we can think for ourselves.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, all these people with all this way of thinking, they all started at home, man, abused or traumatized.
Yeah.
It's just...
I think it's
The
just them being
tribulation.
around like in an echo chamber. If you saying something and everybody around you is just echoing it back to you, then you start believing that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The virtue signaling from some of these people saying that because they're minorities. Like Michelle Obama was saying how she stays up at night, she can't sleep at night because of Trump doing the deportations of these illegal aliens. It's like, how does that make
She's
any
just trying to
sense?
gaslight people, I think, bro.
I don't
That
know.
has to be. She doesn't really think that.
Yeah.
The Mockingbird media has cranked back up again now with Trump arresting these judges. Now it's back to this is our country's falling apart now because Trump's.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh yeah, it's a threat to democracy is what they're all saying again. He's a threat to democracy. I thought democracy was having the rule of law, and if our judges are playing this batshit crazy game they're playing, isn't that a bigger threat to democracy than stopping them from being crazy? It doesn't make any sense, man. They're just trying to stir the pot and create. I think it's about to be the summer of love 2.0. I think Black Lives Matter is about to crank it back up.
Oh, God.
I think it's going to be nasty, man. Yeah,
Please no.
It's like a circus,
Yeah.
man.
I know.
Yeah, it's like a political circus or social circus. I mean, it's
Is the United States in the better as far as the other countries, do you think? Or you think we're on the worst
I
end
think
of the
us as people, I think we all have the best intentions. I don't think there's a country out there that's more welcoming than us, that's more diverse than us. We don't have to have all these programs of diversity. Look, we invite everybody here.
That's what the country was founded on.
Yes,
right?
that's what we all, you know what I mean? Look at China. They're all Chinese, right? You don't see many, and that's okay. But here, we let everybody in, but yet, they're acting like we're a bunch of racists over here,
Yeah, because they want more and more and more. They have to blame it on something.
Yeah.
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 With the United
Never
States
enough.
being that like culture mixed pot, I feel like that's what's made us great.
Yeah.
Because you hear so many different like Cubans, Latins, Africans, Italians, everybody coming over here, mixing together, starting businesses, being successful. Your skin color has nothing to do with
No.
that. Nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether you speak English or not has nothing to do with it either. It's about what's in your heart, what's in your anointing as far as what you
ethics
believe
and-
in. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ambition and work ethics, and all have to be parallel,
Yep.
I mean, it's just.
Dude, that's
And then
nuts.
if we're lucky enough, we live 99 years and we go away.
Yeah. Yeah. Leave something for the
So-
kiddos.
I mean, it's just, yeah. Or if you, in my case, 10 more years, I forget about all I talked to you about because I get riddled with Alzheimer's. What a travesty, man. Life is a big lesson that you learn it at the end. But you're so dilapidated, you cannot use that knowledge. Nobody even want to listen to you because you're so ugly and old and dilapidated that they choose not to listen to you. If you're not pretty or wear the latest fashion or the latest watch, you have nothing relevant to say. You follow?
And it should be the opposite.
It should be
That's
the
unfair,
opposite.
man.
Yeah, it's just the way it is, man.
Because that's where the knowledge is at in an old guy, somebody that's
Yeah.
seen it
And,
all. And he might not look aggressive or dangerous, but he's got value. So
Yeah. I wish I know what I know now when I was 20 years old.
Oh, for sure.
That's impossible. I mean, I'd be so much better.
Really? How old are you?
I'm 68.
You are? Damn,
Can you believe that,
you look
bro?
great,
I
bro.
know, man.
Yeah, thank you,
Holy
thank you,
shit.
Mataz. Thank you.
You look good, dude.
Yeah,
Being 68. Holy shit.
I know,
yeah.
bro.
Be 69 in February.
We need to get our shit together.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
just-
believe that, bro. You certainly don't.
I don't drink. I don't
seem
use
like-
drugs. I don't do none of that.
Yeah.
You know, you see, you offer me a beer. I said no. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
drink if I'm with a girl. Yeah, I drink.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm drinking
We
with a
can,
bunch
we,
of guys here.
we
you
can
know.
talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay. But you know, I mean, it's just, yeah, I guess, and you know,
Well, dude, thank you so much
Yeah,
for coming
bro.
on.
Great
it's
stories,
been an honor for me.
man.
Very, yeah.
Tell
I
at
got
least-
more.
Tell us, like if you have a website or if somebody might listen to this that really wants somebody they can trust with a watch. Is there any way that people can get a hold of you? Do you have a website or a phone
I
number?
don't.
You don't have anything like
you
that?
know, after 20-something years doing this business, I accumulated a network of people, including you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
you're not the only one to come. Hey, man, I got somebody. You know, I got a lot of people. I go to sleep. When I get up in the morning, I'm already have business on the phone. People wanted to watch or wanted to know about, or wanted to sell one or wanted to buy one. Always, you know, because it's been a long time I'm doing this, so customer acquisition for me, I have to get deep on YouTube, have one of these this is very effective for the business, a podcast, TikTok, Instagram,
Yeah, for sure.
Facebook. I mean, I have to dedicate so much time that I'm not going to have time to talk to other people if I want to get football, or I hire somebody to do it, or like Anthony did. He hired an army
Yeah.
that follow him with the
Sales.
lights and you know, I can't. I'm not. I'm too old for that. You know.
Well, if anybody wants a watch or has a question about a watch, you can always reach out to us, and I can bounce it off Juan.
Yeah, just shoot a comment over or
You
something.
bet. You
yeah.
bet.
Sure.
I'll be delighted. to
Yeah,
answer.
we're going to get 20% of everything that's sold.
That's no problem. You're gonna get wet.
Hey,
if
Juan
you
always
are
breaks
get-
you off, bro. He'll always
right,
break you off.
right?
Oh, for sure. Man.
Yeah, I mean,
I've-
I'm gonna do something. Hey, man, take your wife out to dinner or something. I'm gonna do something.
We
you
might
know?
have to go assist you on a back alley deal or something to get it. But
We'll be your security,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah,
We're always
I ain't gonna
packing.
do
Yeah,
no
yeah.
back alley deal. Those days are over.
yeah.
I don't need them.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Juan Carlos. Nice meeting
Cool.
you.
The
man.
pleasure was mine.
Honored to have you on our pod.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Again, this was our 4th episode. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
Subscribe and like.
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
We'll do it
Have a
again.
good
out.
night.
Cool.